A senior Russian diplomat has told Sky News Australia is dangerously close to being considered a part of the Ukraine war. Just 3 days before Russia announced extraordinary sanctions against more than 100 Australians, including 2 Sky News employees, Russia's ambassador to Norway spoke exclusively with reporter Brent O'Halloran.
It is brutality at an incredible scale. Civilians slain, entire Ukrainian cities obliterated. Yet this Russian diplomat has no qualms defending what most of the world deems profoundly indefensible.
You no doubt have seen the pictures coming out of Ukraine of the incredible destruction, of the death, the mass death. How can one support the Russian actions in Ukraine?
This is a very simple issue. What your TV channel was doing for 8 years when the same destructions were in Donbass? Did you show it regular? How many people died during these 8 years, civilians in Donbass? Where is your morale during those years?
It sounds as if you're suggesting that the death that was in the Donbass of the past 8 years justifies the incredible death that's going on in Ukraine.
No, it does not justify anything. So I am against any deaths, and I'm sympathy for everyone, especially civilians.
As one of the most experienced Russian diplomats with previous postings in Europe and Asia and a rumoured friendship with President Putin, the Russian ambassador to Norway's words have weight. And he hints at Kremlin anger towards Canberra over supplying weapons to Ukrainians resisting Russia's invasion.
It makes those countries which export weapons part of the conflict, indirect.
Russia has already sanctioned Australian entities, but officially deeming Australia as a co-combatant would likely lead to more severe punishment from Moscow, potentially trade boycotts and retaliatory attacks.
So Russia considers Australia to be part of the Ukraine war?
No, it brings close to participation in the conflict. You care only about Ukrainians' lives. We care about Russian lives as well.
But he doesn't care for accusations of Russian war crimes in Ukraine. 278 bodies were discovered in the small town of Bucha after Russian forces withdrew in March. A Human Rights Watch investigation found extensive evidence of executions and torture.
How do you feel when you see images of civilians, of mass civilian deaths in Ukraine, for example in Bucha?
Well, in Bucha there is no proof of it. And it was stated by Russian investigators and authorities. That's why I cannot just repeat what had been said.
You're suggesting the reports of mass killings in Bucha and the mass graves that were unearthed?
Well, Russian authorities and people in the field did not prove it.
The International Criminal Court is investigating Bucha and other possible war crimes. Russia does not recognise the court's jurisdiction.
If an international organisation charges a Russian national with a war crime, will Russia support that? Will Russia hand over that accused Russian to an international court?
It's too early to talk about it.
Ambassador Rushvili doubts reports the Russian president is sick and whether he'll soon sign a peace deal.
All these negotiations in October, November, December, January, from his point of view, proved that it is impossible to reach anything.
Moscow's man in Oslo denounced NATO and defended Russia's recent massive military build-up in the country's north. He says the West should not worry about Russia recently reopening Cold War-era bases, but suggests the military build-up on both sides in the Arctic could lead to war.
How confident are you that a conflict in the Arctic can be avoided?
No, we are not confident. And we are not adding a single, point to making the situation aggravate. We didn't do anything.
Its illegal war led to Russia being largely ostracised from the international community, heavily sanctioned, removed from banking systems and global forums.
Either the institution will die, these regional institutions, or Russia will be welcomed back.
121 Australians won't be welcomed in Russia anytime soon. Just 3 days after our interview, the Russian Foreign Ministry announced sanctions on media, military, political and business figures, making it harder to hear from such senior Russian spokespeople, as contentious as their comments may be. Brent O'Halloran, Sky News in Oslo.